Not for 3 minutes. I had just started, but I'm really glad I saw your message. Oh man, the starting soon screen had been up for at least 6-ish minutes. And I was talking for about 30 seconds. But yeah, hello. Stream number 2 of the day. I guess this is sort of related. I said we were going to go till about 4:15. I don't know if we're going to go that long, because I'm tired and it's very obvious. Slept like dog shit. I have not. I am on Top Chat. Thank you, Tom. I also have not had lunch, which kind of sucks, but... Alright, so we're stepping into the jury, right? Because they're fucking stupid.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
He stuck the chap next to him just like this! Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen! I just realized he has the... like the Clockwork Orange eyelashes. But he has them on both eyes, instead of just one. I simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawing the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guilt,
fair, oh god. Fair fares, uh-huh.
Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years.
The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor? It beggars belief. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Oh, you just lost then?
Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they?
Never do. Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then... They've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do?
Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo.
That's not a law, though! That's just an opinion! Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work, then?
Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your arguments.
What do you mean?
All the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a unified front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together.
And that's the way to break them down, you mean? I don't have my... Mello hates everybody and also you has subscribed. Thank you for the sub. Despite the hatred, very open-minded of you. I must. Yeah, she just said, I'm just telling you what I read about British law. About British law. Not comments on British law. Opinions regarding the practice of British law. It does imply that it's the law itself more so than any other explanation. So we just disagree there. She is more prepared and more useful. And she hasn't been kidnapped. Or tried for murder. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. I see. So it's contradictions in what two or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find the contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, might be able to pull this off. No, it's not right. I have to pull this off. I never want to see my lawyers slapping their face. Jurors must not change their opinion. If you attempt to argue their opinion is wrong, then they are to be entrenched even more so in their views.
Can we start the proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord. I mean, if you're doing something for yourself, that's fine. Like, you're just getting yourself psyched up for your exam in which your performance really only affects you. But when your performance affects someone else, probably something you shouldn't outright do. Slapping one's own face or any type of face slapping? Okay, let's see here. So these two, their argument is based on there being only the 4 people. This says he jabbed him from the side? Isn't his wound like over here? This seems kind of difficult to rebut. She's just saying, I just made my decision based on what I've heard. She doesn't say what it was, or what the strongest part of it was. Oh, 4 pence. Then there'd be 5 drivers. So these two are contradicting each other. Stabbing that poor man on the floor? That's not what happened. So 2 and 5 contradict each other, and 3 and 6. So how...
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do?
Explain yourself, counsel.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear on the Silver Blaze's maiden name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. What you're talking about. Ugh.
According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That is it. A fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man? Why? Why'd you do it, son?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each if you do the multiplication. It would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
1 person's fare?
Yes. In other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, one and all. Trustworthiness is our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon.
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end, huh?
Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of scales.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We're all in agreement. Why do you have to go?
Wait till I get my hands on you, Beppo!
Oh, this is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same.
For the love of Mike! Not you as well!
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it! We can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds. We can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. Is there something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions? Then that's where we must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly, you can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
Objection.
Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain yourself, counsel. Post-haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? No, we're not doing this right now. You've been out. No. Been outside like 4 times a day. You're not going out again. What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3.
What? Can't you see that I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ah! Want to test me, do you? It was like this! Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up! Just like the prim banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Wait, yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it. It was like this! He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions.
What? Bless my stitches! What a muddle! Yeah, he almost stabbed the woman next to him! What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh! But why? Why the dickens would they lie?
I don't know that yet, but what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience?
Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. Ha!
The scales.
I don't believe it. Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all.
It was only a matter of time before some British person was like,
He's a wizard!
burn him at the stake! What did I say? No. 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 I could use magic. Do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Answer me this, dark jinx!
Huh? Me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it if 2 witnesses have slightly different recollections of the events?
What of it?
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was at... Wait.
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus. Knock it off. Knock it off. No. No.
And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it.
No. No. I'm gonna kick you out. You need to stop.
Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that, hmm? Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you if I could get it out of the wood. Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you.
They're ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the 2 witnesses see 2 different moments of the same crime? Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you dark jinx? Come on, out with it!
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. You say that's out of the question, show me some proof.
Like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable, hard evidence. As you wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. Do we show the... Do we show the bus or the photo? It's one of these two. This would actually show that the... There's no blood on the... I don't care. There's no blood on the floor. But they don't actually let us look at the floor. Oh, yeah, they do. This shows no blood on the floor. Whereas this shows that he was sitting up when he was stabbed, although his body could have been moved. So really, I would think that this is the stronger evidence, but the game might say it's more obviously that, although I think this leaves more room for doubt. So let's go with my...
Take that!
Yeah. Doesn't surprise me. I think they're wrong here.
Take that!
Or they're both wrong and I'm just an idiot. Entirely possible. Okay. Because why would there be bloodstains on the floor if he got stabbed in two different places? Why is there only one wound? I mean, this says single stab wound. So I think that shows the same thing as either of these show.
Take that!
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once.
Ah, only once?
That is better than the picture, though. I'm not sure it's better than the omnibus, but it's definitely better than the picture. Because in theory, he could have been stabbed twice in the same spot, and the picture wouldn't necessarily tell you that. It just shows that the knife was left in that spot after X amount of stabbings. Yeah, the photo, he could have two stab wounds next to each other. I suppose the omnibus could be the same thing, but you would still have blood on the ground. You don't get stabbed and then don't bleed. That's not how that works, as we see in the picture. It would be really weird for him to get stabbed on the ground and there would be no blood at all. So I think they both say the same thing. They say slightly different things, but they all lead to the same conclusion, that there could not have been two stabbings. There couldn't have been two different stabbings as stated by the jurors. If he was stabbed in the front and fell on his back, how would he fall on his back when he's sitting up? I don't think I'm understanding how you're imagining this happening. He just ran out of blood. We only have a certain amount of blood. Therefore, because there's no blood on the ground, he must have ran out of blood. He slid off the seat? I don't think he could slide off the seat in the way that you're... Especially if the guy was next to him? And if he slid the other way, he'd just hit the wall. I mean, I guess, like, he could slump over. Could he, like, full fall? I'm sure there's some physics out there somewhere to suggest that it's possible. But... Does the knife acting as the cork stopper actually work here, though? Because if he was stabbed once, and the knife was removed, there would be no cork stoppage then. He would bleed somewhere. And then he fell to the floor and got stabbed again? But still with no blood from the other, like nothing falling onto the floor? I just think that's incredibly unlikely. No, that was the original contradiction, but the follow-up that the foreman brought up was they could have seen two different instances of the same crime, meaning they saw two stabbings. So that's not... In his presentation, there is no contradiction if that were true. So then we need to show that there weren't two stabbings. So, no, we've gone past the... One saw one way, one saw the other way, and now are addressing why it could not have been two separate events. The next step in that possibility, so to speak. It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time, which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I concede defeat. Surprised he didn't slap it with his knife. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! No, we just got the trial to continue. What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir! No one deceives me! But we had a consensus! I said shut your trap! I know a liar when I see one! Not before, but now I do! And if the chap ever dares across the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Wow! What is happening here? And it's not just like a dagger lift like you see in like anime or like a movie where there's like a little bit of blood and they just lick it once. They're like, it's supposed to be like, oh, badass, he's drinking blood for some... Yeah, that makes you badass. It just makes you weird. This dude is fucking going to town on it. Knifelingus, they call it. I know how to pleasure my knife like no one else. I'm done now. This is mental assault. Please tell me he's a barber.
He's just cleaning it. Yeah, it's a repeating animation. I know that. I don't know what point that's supposed to make. Yeah, he like, oh, that's right, I poisoned this. Ugh. Oh, sorry, Scarlet, you didn't say anything about it. Everybody else is like, let's go, let's move on. I heard nobody say, hey, can we leave this up for like another 90 seconds, please? I'm almost done.
Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue.
That's true. You didn't have a negative response. There was just no indication as to whether I should proceed or leave it for just a bit longer. Metal. What kind of metal are blades normally made out of? Steel? I honestly don't know that. Like that type of knife, because I know there's like iron. Fucking fuck, what do they call it? Dragon glass. A bunch of memory. That answer seems right. There's a word for it in Spanish? What, licking a knife? There's like a specific word for it? Obsidian. There you go. That's what I want. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Now it'd be stainless steel, but like here, you think it was arsenic? Yeah, you guys, as long as you guys tell me something confidently, I'm probably going to believe you because I have no reason to think you'd lead me astray. I think I ever gave.
But if I find out that any of you lied to me, so be it. If I ever see you darken my stream chat again, I will cut off every strand of hair on that head of yours.
Swallowing the sword? Is that... Why would that be related to homosexuality? I mean, yeah, swords are long and pointy. Penises can be too, but just because I swallow a sword doesn't mean I want a penis in my throat.
That's not a knife, this is a knife.
Making love to a World War II bomb. Wow. Okay, now it's definitely time to...
I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places, and I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth.
Funny enough, Fly Me to the Moon's the only song I've ever sang in my life that caused my sister to praise me. Never before that. Although that Fly Me to the Moon is Sinatra's version, not the Ava version. This is more. Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. Like that sort of loungy. Yeah.
So, Lord Van Zieks, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
Oh, hold on, I need to get drunk first.
You asshole! You don't waste good wine like that! And all over your white gloves? Doesn't even faze me that he broke it with his fist in a courtroom, or that it was wine. Wine might actually be the cover for blood, because as long as they might be like, "Is that blood, sir?" And he's like, "No, it's wine." And they're like, "Oh, well, as long as it's not blood." He did do that to piss us off, us wine lovers. Having savored the rich aroma of the canine, like that is not the word, carmine. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zieks!
Brr, is it cold in here? Or is it just me? As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation of examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Yeah, that's gonna get them on your side. You stupid idiots. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Oh shit. Does that sound like Edgeworth, but less nasally? That's what I'm going for. So instead of witnesses, it's witnesses. Just a little drop off in the nasaliness. No, he's not wrong. And I've believed the same thing in many circumstances. But that's kind of okay, I don't want to say it's the point, but like, the jury isn't going to be able to review the case and the facts and the law as good as the attorneys are. It's not, and if you're expecting the jurors to be able to do that, then you are overestimating their intelligence, because your estimation in the first place was flawed. Isn't this cape behind him? Oh no, yeah, it looks like it's gone. Interesting. They're supposed to be the average human. Thank you, Scarlett. They're supposed to be collectively the average human. Layman is worse than dumb? I trust you heard the summation examination we just had to endure. Oh, yes, sir, that I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir, I heard it! You, sir, on the end. The coachman, I believe it's Beppo.
Yes, sir, my lord, sir. Dude, seriously, that guy needs to go to the hospital.
If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a fifth passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Whoo! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! You hear that? Perjury. They're actually gonna charge somebody with perjury. Oh my god! You hear that? That's amazing. I know. I'm happy too. I do love me a good perjury charge. I had to wait for a second because I felt a slight stiffening in my body and I had to let that subside real quick before I stood back up in triumph. Perjury. Yeah. 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 See, she's happy too. She knows the deal. She knows the deal. Alright, I'll be right back. I think she might. Yep, she actually does have to go to the bathroom. Mostly aluminium, as they would say here, because they add an I to it, or is it spelled differently in British English? I don't know. I always thought that was weird. Stiletto knife. Interesting. The more you know. Oh yeah, Inquisitor is indeed the musical expert. Damn, that's an insult to the music. It's waiting. It's on hold music. It's the original form of the word, and then American English removed it? Or is it... Or are you saying, like, aluminum is some, like, concentrated form or altered form of aluminium? Puppies for perjury. Should create that imaginary organization. In 1890? Put it on a t-shirt? I'm writing that down. I might want one, if just for myself, even if no one else wants one. Oh, God. I'm just so happy right now. Oh, meu Dio. Mio Dio. Mio Dio? There's no S there? Huh. Or is that like Italian? And there's no S there in Italian. Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination. It is Italian. Okay. Fair enough. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear, but... Well, I, for one, was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. Oh, Beppo! Beppo! Why you doing everybody dirty, Beppo? He was talking about how he deserved to get paid more because of how cold it was. Oh, Beppo, getting fucking dunked on. He fiddled us on the fair, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much. I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes. Well, I mean, think about it. If he got 4 extra pence from everyone, that alone for him is a carriage ride, which kind of is a big deal, isn't it? Especially when it's like cold and he needs to go somewhere and he's like, I got my fare. The next time I have to go to the butcher or something. I haven't had a McGriddle in a long time, but now that you mention it, yeah.
Counsel, make sense for this. Counsel, make sense of this for me, please. The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cozenage.
Wait, cosinage? How's that pronounced? I feel like this is a word that I've heard before but never seen written and thus don't know. Hard O. Somebody's been playing words with, yeah, right? So is it coznage? Or does the E have a... hard O to hard E? So cozinage? Couzonage. Couzonage. Cousinage. 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 Now you guys are just trying to confuse me. Cousin... One of those.
Beppo, explain yourself!
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster.
The guild's fare is 4 pence across the board, you know that! Am I to understand that you've been overcharging your passengers by a penny a fare?
Yes, it's so cold, and the last run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
I mean, to them, not to the court. Technically speaking. Cousinage? You're fucking kidding me. Okay. Alright, we'll go with that. I'm sorry.
You're a disgrace, Beppo, a disgrace!
Says the dude pounding hard liquor in the juror box. Just saying.
Oh, but Twain, it could be coffee.
Yeah, do you put coffee in a flask? You don't down coffee like that. You don't go. "Ugh." I mean, maybe some of you do. I guess when I drink coffee, it has to be like, oh, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot. Irish coffee, maybe. Yeah. I've been in a pre-trial conference with an attorney who brought Irish coffee and told all of us, because it was just the attorneys in the room, and he was like, yeah, I don't care if you don't. And I'm like, oh shit. Wow, the alcoholism accusations about our profession are not exaggerated. Do you down tea like that? Tea's even sipped, like, premier than coffee, right? You got the finger, and then you have to hold the saucer and put it down, and then they don't drink any more tea for the rest of the scene, and they just get up and leave. Always pisses me off in movies and shows. Well, I can down tea and coffee too if it's cold, but do you want to do that? Why would you have a flask full of that if it's gonna be a flask full of cold coffee? That's awful. Unless you like cold tea, I don't... Maybe cold tea's better than cold coffee. Cold coffee is awful. Like, just black coffee, making it cold, it brings out the bitterness even more. Oh, maybe that's why I don't like tea. I've been doing it wrong this whole time. Isn't that my job as the strimmer? Provide fuel for the troll fire? I don't really like coffee either. I'll drink it because it is effective, but I have to basically turn it into sugar. And the creamer that I use now is a birthday cake creamer, so it tastes like birthday cake sugar in liquid form. Keeps me awake though. What's milk coffee? Coffee that you put milk into? Isn't that just a latte? Although I guess latte is espresso and milk, specifically. So I've had birthday cake flavored Bang, which is basically birthday cake soda. I also was not a fan. That's not a taste that's great carbonated. It actually does taste a lot. Maybe it's because it's thicker. It's like a thicker smooth. Almost like it's an alcoholic dessert drink, which is also quite amazing. You heat up the milk and put coffee in it. Or you heat up the milk and put it in coffee. That's latte. Ice cream coffee, like ice cream flavored coffee, or coffee ice cream that has like coffee flavoring, or coffee with ice cream in it. Because if I were in a coffee shop, I'd be a dick to you and be like, coffee with milk? What? You just want coffee with milk? You'd want a latte, but I'd give you something else because you don't know what you're talking about. That's why I don't work in retail, because I would be an asshole. Wait, so which one? Like an ice cream float with coffee? No, I haven't. But I bet that would be kind of good. Ice cream just makes anything taste better. Well, not everything, but if we're talking about like coffee, it's gonna make the coffee taste better.
And yourself has actually brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir, I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers at 5 pence each is, yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the results come out differently. Oh, that's thank you, Susato. No, that figures. Yeah, I kind of want to float too. I have had one recently, though. I had one in Seattle 2 years ago. That shit was delicious.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Oh, I'm sorry, douchebag. Am I supposed to just be like, oh no, you're right. I give up. Let my client be found guilty. Absolutely. Did the game just tell us, like, you shouldn't press everything, and then immediately go, nah, fuck it, press everything? Okay, so we're looking for a reaction.
Hold it!
This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir.
A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of a man that the moment his life is taken.
Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the jet was stabbed.
Good gracious, really?
We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's when I saw the horrible blade pointing out from his belly, all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming even when I'm eating. Wow, that sucks.
Hold it!
Shit is not grape juice. Shit is not grape juice. So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGilded, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before, this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only 2 of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a 5th passenger, but as of yet, 0 evidence. And what are we wasting all this time for, huh? It's black and white, the man's guilty. Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. Wish I could work out what it was. Fuck. Damn it. Let's go backwards. It is kind of a grape juice, fermented.
Hold it!
Okay, so he...
problem is... We need something more. Maybe I need to go to the next one?
Hold it!
Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice pick grip. I suppose I might have, you know, yes, put the cart before the horse, maybe.
What's this?
Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. And when I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes. So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all. I really thought that I did, but when I go over it again in my head, no, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay?
Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh?
Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. Might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer this cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Some days are like that! No chance! Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on top of an omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you.
I mean, that's just one step away from it be like that sometimes, right? I would have, if it said it be like that sometimes, I would have clicked it just because you have to. You have to.
Thank you, Mr. Fairplay.
Oh, excuse me if I was getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord.
I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Yeah.
Oh, I can do that all right? I'll tell you just how grim it was.
Eee! I'm assuming that part of his brain doesn't really too significantly negatively affect his ability to transport himself from point A to point B. I don't know, Scar. That's a good point.
You think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed the man?
Blood-soaked hands. Alright, well, let's press this.
Hold it!
Blood-soaked?
Ahem. Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick. A little spillage humor there. But anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
And you saw that from the roof, through the skylight.
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm sure of what I saw.
Spanker's latest statement. Feel there's something not quite right about it. When you feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo, that's when you should have a good look through the court record.
Oh, so it was a lot better. Interesting. Well, good for him. Yeah, I don't think he got the corpus callosum severed. That would be something. It's a place between Birmingham and Northampton. Gotcha. Gotcha. Oh, Susato's just so precious. She's so helpful. Through the court record.
Objection.
Blood-soaked hands? Well, I admit that soaked might be laying out a little thick, but we heard that joke already. But anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it. Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar. What? Speak plainly. Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilden, on the night in question. Oh yes, right. And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there, but as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right hand glove. In short, Mr. Fairplay, your testimony is inconsistent. Yeah, but no, that can't be right. So you're the liar here then. That's right, you were quite clear about it. You said it was both hands. He's gonna snap his gentleman's cane in half. Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
Objection.
Answer my question, witness. It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. That's not a simple mistake, bruh. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains. The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection.
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands, which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court, or he actually did see two blood-soaked hands, but they belonged to a different person. Also possible. Gah! Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate. Prevaricate. One of those two. He's claiming to have no reason to lie, but is that really the case? Mr. Naruhodo, if we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony. My lord? I probably should have checked the court record. It's the ledger, isn't it? This portfolio must contain all sorts of secrets of London's gentry. Oh dear, do you really think we ought to look inside? Well, it's not as though we know any of London's gentry personally, is there? Apart from our great detective friend, perhaps. Actually, I wonder. I assure you we will not find Mr. Sholmes' name inside. Well, let's see what we find.
This is really legible, boy, I tell you. Gosh, it's crammed full of gentlemen's names, isn't it? Well, I suppose they're probably not all gentlemen at all. Are they? After all, not everyone in this country is well off. Ah, goodness! What is it? Look at this! Do you see this? The name here? Bruce Fairplay. Bruce Fairplay. Should that mean something to me? It does sound strangely familiar, actually. Bruce Fairplay, the witness testifying at this very moment, you moron! Oh yeah, duh, the banker. Why is his name in here? He borrowed 20 guineas, did he? And look, the repayment date is fast approaching. It's possible that this is just a coincidence, of course, but this could be very useful information. The SAT is an American high school exam. They use that score to see whether you are worthy of being admitted to certain colleges. In addition, combined with your grade point average, your cumulative grade point average. Some colleges, though, instead of looking at the SAT scores, look at your ACT scores. So you might have to take 2 tests, depending on where you want to go. They don't require any of them? Wow. Good for them. Yes, counsel? Correct. Do the California universities have entrance? I don't know of any university that has an entrance exam. It essentially serves as entrance exam score. Yeah. That's true. Some of them do require essays. The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony.
Good. Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence. The evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception of the court.
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilden. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused?
No, well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say? Well, what of it? Let's suppose Mr. McGilden were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case? That is true. If you fucked around early, it's a problem. But, on the other hand, they're also not punishing you for having, like, more, like, innate stuff. Like, if you're a really hard worker, you will be rewarded. And I can appreciate that. I have no idea. I don't even know what a guinea is. It's got red in it. Yeah, I took the ACT. I didn't take the SAT. Because most of the colleges in the Midwest look at ACT, not SAT. Gore.
It just depends on where you want to go. Some colleges will look at SAT, some will look at ACT. Some will look at both. I don't know. I never took the SAT, so I couldn't tell you. Okay, that's a lot of money. So 20 would be 2% of that, so 2% of $158,000. That's a lot of money. My ACT score also landed me a full scholarship that I subsequently blew because I decided to be a dickhead freshman, well, end of freshman, beginning of sophomore year in college, which is not the time to do it. Let me tell you.
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, with the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? Mr. Fairplay, is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw in a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant? It's fine for him to lead on cross-examination. The problem is when the prosecution then leads. Lacked fair play. Add the shades.
Order, Mr. Bruce Fairplay.
Yes, my lord.
Let me ask you again, and be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir.
Can we just take another moment to appreciate this judge?
Congratulations!
Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes! Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a good question. You did not tell the truth in your testimony. All right. Now let's not make a melodrama out of this. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch. A pinch? But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands, both of them. And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, with which we have here as evidence, is stained. So you keep saying. I wonder if I might be allowed to speak, sir?
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir, on the assailant's hands. I think, yes.
I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one.
What? What?
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all your witnesses. This time I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear?
Judge Santa Claus is the best. Judge Santa Claus is the best.
Yeah,
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes! Yes! I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. I'm sure he'll disappoint me like the rest, though. Not the best, though. Oop.
there was blood on both hands of the assailants.
What? Oh, those are E's. Okay.
I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with bloods on them. Bloods on him. That just added a weird quirk to his accent, or his speech pattern. I didn't actually see anything myself, no, not until I heard the scream. Why would you have?
Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen.
Seems like he never checked his naughty and nice list before this trial started.
Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated.
I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
It is not. That's really not what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seats, corroborating the witness's accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case. Except that none of your witnesses has provided any evidence to back up your claim, so we're back to square one.
Very well, your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. I guess not entirely square one. That 5 pence thing kind of... There being only 4 people does throw a wrench into it all.
Hold it!
Would I say my lord now? No, and I'd be laughed at. Or just looked at very awkwardly. Maybe if I were a barrister in England, but I'm not. In America, we just say judge or your honor. I always say your honor. It's my thing. No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record.
I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands.
He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw, but why? Your reasoning is dire.
One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused fingers.
Yeah, stop trying to minimize impeachment of the witnesses, bruh. You're embarrassing yourself. Who cares that he didn't tell the truth? Who cares that he doesn't exactly remember what he saw? Oh yeah, I stroked that eagle. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Hold it!
Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know.
But for crying out loud, we all know that no one else could possibly have done it. I was just trying to save us all time.
You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding with the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty?
That's not entirely not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the Derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture just this weekend that's a sure thing.
A little guinea or 10.
I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend.
Tisk tisk. I think you may have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir.
This witness's scruples are not on trial here. Actually, sure, they're not on trial, but they are in question. Because we're supposed to be relying on his testimony, so his scruples kind of matter.
Proceed to the next witness.
Is that really how it's supposed to work? Oh wait, that's right, you're just a hearing officer? Even if I, like, noticed that fact or remembered it, I wouldn't say that out loud. If it was somebody that you would have ruled against, I'd have been like, well, unfortunately, 20 miles over the speed limit isn't just a little speeding. Or something like that. Oh, I guess you're talking about, like, revocations and stuff. But you know what I mean. In terms of whether you're gonna suspend, revoke, or reinstate, or whatever. Meryl should be able to see all his stuff on the stream. I mean, I see that. Oh, interesting. So I do see it in my chat. It doesn't appear. So, I don't think I ever knew that. So this only shows top chat. This doesn't show live chat, even if I switch to live chat on here. Interesting. Interesting.
Hold it!
There's no like my window in which it is taking this link from is on live chat. So it should simply be reflecting whatever I'm seeing. But there is no like toggle in OBS itself to turn it on live or top. Interesting. I guess I never paid attention to that before. You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands. Of course, it's not a bad thing.
not really necessary to add more swears on top of what I'm already doing and what the game's saying. Flattery will indeed get you everywhere. Yes, sir, I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of McGiddle's gloves has any signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGill did I keep calling him Mr. McGriddle? When I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. That's true. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace of bloods on Mr. McGilded's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? This is puzzling indeed. This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. Sorry. God. Hold on. Just need to stretch real quick. My legs are feeling tight. Oh, I know what I can do. Stretch it like that. Right. I'll lean back for just a little bit here. You didn't see anything? Oh, yes, sir. That is to say, no, sir, I didn't. Very sorry for what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I certainly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir, I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving the horses. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, huh? No? Oh, please. You didn't even see that? It was so cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly frozen solid, sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid travel on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo! Ah! Core, it's bloody cold outside! What's core? As a swear, I didn't realize. I knew bloody was like a swear, but I didn't realize. I never knew core was a swear. Good luck on your electronics exam. Electronics exam.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus? Why has he not asked them where they were sitting yet? That seems like it might be, seem obvious to everyone else, but it still should be established. That's right, it was fiercely cold that... That's right, it was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember I was shivering, it was so bitter. Which rather begs the question of... Ryan's not here, is he?
Which rather begs the question of why a pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place.
Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh? Why not?
It was locked from the inside. It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door.
It was locked?
That's right, and it's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Get it? Because of my name is fair play. Play on fair words? That's just another joke there.
Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below.
That's sad. I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. That's what she said. And that's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else at all in that cabin, I would have noticed.
Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Do they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? Knock it off.
No.
Oh, it's like God. God blind me.
No, I'd say it's more of the former.
Looking longingly into the warm cabin below.
No. No.
Knock that off.
No. No.
No.
No. No.
They might not have been able to, just depending on where they were sitting. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding this omnibus and witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck, is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh.
Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
Have we even fucking established that they were sitting in the upper right? I don't think anybody said that yet. Yeah, you know he's a Miro because that was your name before. You can't just turn that off. What do you expect from us? I don't know, is that actually your name though? I'll just call you Amir then.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Ah, that's right, my lord, as you can see. The seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting
on that seat, it's quite possible that the witness would have been completely unaware of it.
Objection!
Oh, are we not acquaintances? Then I will continue to call you Amiro then. I do not wish to offend. You can call me Amiro, but you're acting like we're like actual acquaintances or something. Silly bitch. In the very beginning. Alright, fair enough. I just don't remember that. I'm fucking with you, Amiro. Don't worry about it. I know that's not what you meant. It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. I'm revoking your allowance.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder in a British court of law. Evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. It is unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Why would you have to put a name to it? You would just have to find evidence that someone else was there. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? I would also suggest sleeping. Can you like read your notes to like record them in like 15 minutes and then put headphones on and go to sleep while listening to you reciting your notes over and over again? They do have a foreboding habit of casual racism. How do you switch to the people? R. Couldn't be either of these people. They would have seen each other. Or they'd been like, he wasn't sitting next to me, or he wasn't sitting next to me. And he was driving, so I don't think we have an inkling. That seems, yeah, I don't think we know. It was Maya. I'm surprised she hasn't been accused yet. I put my book under my pillow. There you go. Diffusion. I have literally no idea. As a proud citizen of the Japanese Empire, you will look to the sky and walk on, making sure all signs of tears are gone. Go on. This isn't just a case of going on, Miss Susato. All right then, I'll go on. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learnt.
Let's not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat.
This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was... Oh, it was my client.
passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
Objection!
How did that cause the flame to make a noise? Wouldn't the alcohol have had to have gotten, like, inside the candle, the glasses, for that to have happened? Or could just shaking it cause that to happen too? I don't know, it doesn't matter.
What is a man?
Yo, what's up, Brian? We had another begs the question earlier. I don't think you were here. I think he's wearing the Genji glove because what's his Cosmo was wearing it, I think. He threw it so fast it evaporated.
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hallowed chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own.
They're actually bigger than your islands.
But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly.
What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which this case is built. But that premise may be wrong.
What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. Oh, he had it in Japan? Oh, because he practiced archery. Okay, fair enough. No, don't apologize for saying the correct way the first time. Apologize for then saying it the wrong way the next time. No, is that how, do they say it apologized? Because I mean, if you say it like that, then sure, S. But we say apologized, in which case the S makes significantly less sense compared to the Z. How often do I wish lawyer cases, or this lawyer cases, you just mean cases and court cases in general? I do not wish they were like this. They would be significantly more stressful. And more difficult, for that matter. Because shit's always, like, popping up out of nowhere. And you're like, the fuck? But there's no insult here. You pronounce a word one way and intentionally spell it in a way that it is not pronounced. We hear the word and say, well, it's spelled like this because this is how it's pronounced.
I guess I'm just getting insulted for being a part of the society that spells words as how they're actually pronounced.
They sound really fun for the prosecution. You just get to do whatever the fuck you want. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection.
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands. Both of them.
Objection.
Yeah, I mean, so this is the thing. This is the thing. Lynch is right. We shouldn't be... English shouldn't be insulting English, regardless of what the English is. Because it's all fucked up compared to other languages. So we just need to get our own shit together before we infight. C++. Well, have fun with that. Good luck. Have a good night. I'm sure it is! I have never once claimed on one of these streams that English is a magnificent language. In fact, I've only ever shit on English. It's awful. It's fucking terrible. And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Well, saying it's the worst is an exaggeration. Just try to amplify just how bad I think it is. Because I've taken 3 languages. 3. Am I forgetting one? The only other one I took, like, extensively beyond English was Japanese, but 4 years is still a baby. Talking like a baby. But I know but like Spanish, for example. Spanish and Japanese are really easy to put together compared to English. Like, I don't have nearly the same amount of difficulty. My difficulty is still not necessarily knowing what everything means. But in terms of being able to string together pronunciations and stuff, Japanese is really good about that. Very straightforward. Especially. Give them back. So, I mean, Russian could be terrible too, you're right. I don't know Russian. So I can't comment on Russian. Just that English is terrible. And would be somewhere near the bottom of, like, best languages. I don't know. I found it kind of fun. Writing kanji is a pain, yes. We never really got too far into that. Like, the kanji we did know was mostly very simple kanji. But, like, if you're just writing hiragana and katakana, they're just way more fun ways of writing letters. Later, Brian. Take it easy, dude. Have fun. So I thought so too. Until I actually started typing in Japanese, and it's actually pretty good. It does it for you most of the time. Or it'll give you like 3 options or something like that. You'll be like, okay, you'll have to know which kanji fits which situation. But if you don't know, you don't have to use the kanji. You can just leave it as it is. But I was pleasantly surprised by how it worked with the typing system. They made it work pretty well. It is weird though to have to, like, your first letter is almost always going to be like a Latin letter, like H. And then I add the A, and then it creates ha. So that's kind of weird, yeah. But like if you're just typing it as you know it's spelled, you start to not really notice that because it just kind of flows out anyways. Brian. Maxim, that's troll level on 100,000 trillion there. No, why would you think you can? You can't even enter the courthouse in general with a weapon. I thought that would be obvious that what's happening here is something that cannot happen. It's just that's outrageous. I'm not using a different mic. Why? What does it sound like? Does it sound like the other day? Because when you guys were talking about the mic on Twitch, well, you weren't talking about it because you were on the comms with me, but when they were talking about the mic, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't touched the mic or changed any settings. Go to my filters real quick. No, I haven't changed anything there. No, my filters are there. Sounds normal to you? I guess it could just be what you're listening to on tel, although that would be weird too. Does anybody else notice a difference? I sound slightly louder, but that's the only thing I notice. And that's just because I'm talking louder. No, I'd rather you bring it up than not bring it up. It could just be because of where I position the mic. If I have it here, it might sound a little crisper. The problem is, though, the closer I have it to me, the worse it sounds when I'm loud. If that makes sense. But what would I sing?
I don't have any words to go with this. Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary. Order. What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused. But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats, and I couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
What particular styles of hat these two gentlemen sport, Mr. First?
Impromptu expert witness? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose the fact. No, he said he was sleeping. Unless that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation? That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the true culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled? Yes, actually, I do. He's right. There was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. It's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Is the game just gonna pretend like we don't remember that that was a big part of our earlier conversation?
Order. There's clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, you have already made a full statement to the police. Holy shit. This is bad. This is a bad part of their system. As a defendant, you always have the right. You always have the right to testify. Is it a good idea for you to always testify? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. But you always have the right, if you so desire. Your police statement to the police is not your only out, especially since of what are called Miranda rights. You guys probably heard before. Anything you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do could be used against you within the court. That's the abridged version, but you know what I mean. Because you have the right to speak to your attorney before you tell the police anything. He'd have seen the killer at... Well, we don't know when he woke up. He just said when he woke up, the dude was already dead. Did he wake up to the screams of the people that saw him, though? Or the scream of the guy who got stabbed? That's an important difference. Because if it was not the person who got stabbed, the killer could have left before the other people, like if he ducked out the side. Would that still have been noticeable to people? It should have been, probably. Unless he did it right as the horses stopped, so he, like, timed it, the sound, so it would have been obscured by, like, the carriage stopping and the horses. But admittedly, that would be very impressive. Not inconceivable, but very impressive. They probably didn't if he's saying some bullshit like this.
It's not a matter of proving whether you took a nap. You give your testimony and they decide whether to believe you or not. How could you prove that you took a nap, one way or the other, without something that's like attached to you, a device that shows that he was indeed unconscious during this period of time? So no, that's not really how that works. It's just a matter of what testimony you believe there. If they actually looked that way, it's not guaranteed that they would have seen him running away. They could have been focused on the dude who was stabbed and not the guy who's running away. I'm not saying that happened, just that it's not so... Well, there's no way. Yeah, there is a way. There is a way. Do I believe it? It seems like a stretch, but it's possible. And we're talking about a game series that stretches shit like that all the time. That depends on the case itself. Sometimes it's better to be a defense lawyer, other times it's better to be a prosecutor. Just depends on how strong the case is for either side. I would most often rather be on the side of the prosecution, though. Because of the standard of proof, or burden of proof, being beyond a reasonable doubt, that means that if a charge has been brought, it means that they're very sure that the person did it. So, like, that means that even though the system isn't as one-sided as it is in Japan, it's still very much like, yeah, we're kind of sure here. So the case is probably fairly strong. Not always, but probably. Just in more often than not. But what if there's some reason why he's unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord, should we ask Miss McGilded to testify or not? I mean... Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Yes, I need a little time to consider this. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say! No. We've been over this already. No. Do you need to leave? Do I need to take you out of the room? You need to stop. It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, it gets get her done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Very well. The court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once. I said out? Where? I don't know where that... I don't even remember. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded,
Have you been listening to the discourse of the day?
To be sure, I have, my lord.
There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal that fact from the police?
Gad, no! 'Tis not in my nature to hide anything at all.
Just answer the questions, please. I don't have his voice down yet. I need to get it together.
The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Do I tell yous all, or keep me mouth shut?
Tell us what, Mr. McGilded?
The fine fellow representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger.
It's true?
Aye, and 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened.
You... What?! No, Magnus McGilded. That convenient excuse can't save you now.
I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you.
Which was?
Well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and not in any way involved, you see.
What?
If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. They'd have hauled her into this here courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord.
And who is this young child of whom you speak?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Aye, well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness's statements to be disregarded by the court.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to the proceedings. What?
Smoke! Fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away! It's no use! I can't see anything! What's going on?
Be careful, Miss Snowhead. Cover your face!
Bailiff, don't let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus.
Hereby call an emergency recess. Bailiff, ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom.
We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff, amid scenes of chaos as people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber.
Zigaku says do nothing!
My hands do nothing! We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that, for the time being at least, the trial was suspended.
And there, so we shall end it. Until Monday. Monday we shall have a full stream. And probably go just a wee bit longer. Assuming I can actually sleep on Sunday, which is my intent. I will be back. Twitch tomorrow. And I'm gonna try to figure out my fucking Von Zeek's accent along the way, because I feel like every time I open my mouth for one of his lines, it's a little different than it was the line prior. So, yeah. Thank you for coming to my second stream today. I'll be back Monday. Hope to see you all then.
Yeah, until then, guys. Stream is adjourned, just like the proceedings were.
Me.
Hello.
I want to go to the Dancing Dragon building.
The Dancing Dragon building? It's on my way. Would you like to come with me?
Oh, no.
Thank you very much.
But I mean, oh god. Well,
You're right in front of
she
it.
is- yeah,
Even
we're
though she
literally
just
right
turned
there.
around and went the other direction.
You're here.
Dude.
wow, that was very nice. She was super helpful.
No,
though.
I think she was being fucking snarky. Oh, I'll see you the way. It's on my way. Here it is, mother.
Yes.
Draw your name. Oh, can you do a SOG?
How do you... Wait.
Hold R1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got this. Okay, you got an S.
That's an S-ish. That's a gigantic O. That's not an O at all.
What is that?
It's kind of like, I don't know. Oh, it's kind of like...
I think you did that on purpose.
This is kind of like...
Not make that O so big.
This is pretty much the soggy aspect.